All right, I'd like to welcome our next guest. He's an Army veteran, a husband, father, soap opera actor, and an entrepreneur. He's also in a pretty big fight for his health, and he's going to have some exciting things to talk about with respect to what he's doing for that community. Mark Mortimer has lived in the St. Charles area for decades, and he's built one of the best businesses around. And we're super excited to welcome Mark, who's also a friend, to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Josh.
Thank you so much for coming, Mark.
Sure, Katie.
How you feeling today, bud?
I'm on the upswing.
Good. So let's talk about some interesting things. So as I said, you live in St. Charles. You've lived in Geneva. You've been in this area for how long?
It's 24 years.
And before you came to the area, you lived in the Chicagoland area, right?
I did. I lived downtown Chicago. Yeah.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up on the south side. Yeah. I kind of lost that a little bit, but yeah, it's Hegwish, the very south side. It's kind of a rough neighborhood nowadays, but back then it wasn't. But yeah, just a product of the Chicago public school system.
And then I think the big thing that people are going to be asking about is, so we'll talk about your Army career, which I think is very exciting and important. But we also want to hear about your time in New York.
Okay.
So let's talk about it. So you did spend some time in the Army, and you were down south of Fort Bragg. Is that right?
I was.
And what did you do there?
Mostly picked up pine cones. It was peacetime, so a lot of training because I was in special ops. So did a lot of training, but other than that, there was nothing to do. It was the late 80s. There was nothing going on. Went to Panama, Nicaragua, and Honduras to blow some stuff up once, and that was about the extent of my military career. I was a very, very good field soldier. I was a lousy garrison soldier. That means I did not like time spent on the base. So I got myself in a little bit of trouble a few times. And I kind of entered the Army the same way I got out, a private. But I did make sergeant a couple times.
There's a ladder, right?
Yeah.
It goes up and
yeah, but
down.
I still got an honorable discharge. So it was good.
Can you share some of the things you did that got you kind of busted?
I got in a couple fights. Back then, I went into the Army. I had a chip in my shoulder when I was younger, South Side kid, not knowing what I wanted to do. A little undersized, so a little bit of that small guy syndrome, and wanted to test my mettle, and did a lot of training. Got really good at being a soldier. Wanted to put it to practice, which is so immature, but that's what you are when you're 18, 19 years old. You're just immature. And if I couldn't fight on the field, I'd fight in the parking lot, fight in a bar. That was back then. One time I stole a Humvee, and we were aggressing some soldiers, some Rangers in Florida. When you aggress them, you're the counter against them. You're trying to go disrupt their patterns and keep them off their game. So you're trying to disrupt them. And it was after the day had ended one day, and we're stuck in the middle of nowhere in Florida, and just there's a Hummer there, an M16 turret on top, loaded up, and we just took it to the local, I want to say, adult bar. We were there for about 15 minutes before the MP showed up. I went back down to private pretty quick after that.
So I always say that as a young man in particular, I think that's the time where we learn from our mistakes more than anything else, right?
Agreed.
So looking back at your time in the Army, I think you can say you had some fond times and some learning experiences, right?
I had a great time.
What were some of the biggest things you learned being in the Army?
I learned how to work. I learned how to perform. I learned discipline, which I did not have. It starts by getting up in the morning, making your bed, getting your first accomplishment out of the way. And I was a strack soldier. I bought into the whole recipe. I learned a lot about that, about putting the work in to be better, to better my abilities. And the whole idea was to not get killed, right? When that time came, and the more you paid attention, the harder you worked, the better you became, the less apt you are to be a casualty on the field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how long were you in the Army?
I was in the Army for just over 3.5 years, where I got an early out. It was more like a suggestion I should leave, but we're going to let you leave with an honorable discharge. I was the battalion athlete, so every time a competition came up, it was put Mark up against them. So I would compete against 82nd Airborne Division, 7th Special Forces Division, in whether it be a triathlon or a run event or any kind of army event where they test your mettle. And you had to be at least a private first class to perform, at least back then. And so I kept getting my rank back pretty quick. So that part was pretty cool. I don't know. I don't actually remember the question, but I hope that helps.
That's how long you were in. But so you're in the Army, you go through this experience, you learn a ton, and then you kind of transition and you end up in New York acting on a soap opera, right?
Yeah, it was an accident.
Well, talk to us. How did that happen?
All right. So when I got back, when I got out of the Army, I had 3 jobs. I worked during the day as an electrician apprentice. At night, I was working as a waiter. And on the weekends, I was starting my painting company called OSP Painting, One Stroke Painting. The big joke there was, which one of you is a stroke? That was the big joke, because it was me and a partner. And I had fallen off a scaffolding and hurt my knee pretty good. And so I could no longer do any of the work, but I was managing the crews. And we were doing a job in the city on Printers Row. And it was weird. Like, I was going up the elevator or down the elevator, and a photographer got in on like the 2nd or 3rd floor. And he said, what do you do? And I'm like, I own a painting company. He goes, not anymore. Let's take your picture. And 3 months later, I was in Europe modeling. And then from there, it led to commercials. And from there, it led to opportunities to do under 5s, which is under 5 lines on daytime TV or nighttime TV. And then I was on Guiding Light for an episode, and then it's Procter & Gamble, and the producer called another producer from another world and said, hey, look, you got to see this kid. He's got chops. He's really green, but he's got some chops. And they put me in for a screen test, and next thing I knew, I was in New York working as an actor. Kind of took a pay cut, though, from the modeling. I was a hard-working model for 3 years.
Where were you doing the modeling at?
Downtown Chicago. I did like all the stuff. I did Bixby Crothers. I did a bunch of billboards. I did.
You've done billboards too,
yeah,
Mark?
And all the underwear ads. Did all that. But, I was military. I was strong and built, and I could do that body work. And I had such a good work ethic. And the modeling industry is really flaky, because some guys, sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't show up. I was on the job every day, every time early. I got the shot and I got out. So once my name got out there, like, this guy works. He comes in there, he gets a shot, and he leaves. And he shows up and he's on time every single time. That just started moving around the industry. And it's like, we want him, we want him, we want him, we want him. Sometimes doing Dillards. I was flying all over the country, doing Dillards, doing Target, doing all the, the commercial stores. That's where the money's at, not the Gucci ads. That's okay. But this constant work, $1,500 a day, every single day. Boom, just work. And it was great. It was wonderful. But I knew it wasn't going to last. So the next logical step was maybe try to act a little bit.
So had you thought about acting before? No,
not ever.
Had you ever acted before?
Like little stuff. And, you tell a lie, you're really acting, right? So you fake it till you make it kind of thing. And I took a lot of lessons while I was on the show. They got me a coach. I thank him for that, because I was pretty raw. So I'd have some good days, some bad days. But I ended up getting, Soap Opera Digest Best Younger Actor my first year. And I was lucky. I was just lucky, You just stepping into the good stuff every day. you know.
How long were you on Another World for?
I want to say a little over 4.5 years. I was on till the show ended.
And what was the role? Who were you?
Nick Hudson.
Tell us about Nick Hudson.
Nick Hudson was a bad boy. So kind of fit. It was pretty easy. Rode a Harley, you know, was always in a little bit of trouble, always kind of pushing the line. You know, the kind of guy who didn't mind if you puked in the backseat of his car. That's the kind of guy he was. So it was easy. That part was easy.
So I was talking with you before we sat down here this morning, and you know, you and I have known each other now for 10, 15 years, quite some time. But when we first met, the person that introduced us was Molly Spring, and Molly, I don't know why, but she sent me your Google images from the time you were in New York, and
stuff never goes away; it's still there.
I got to tell you, I might date a young 20-something Mark Mortimer.
Yeah, well, he was a pretty decent looking kid back then. Things change over time, but you know,
not too much. But so at that point in time, or somewhere in there, you met your wife, right?
I did.
How did that happen?
Well, we were in New York. I was snowboarding with my friend Tim Gibbs at the time, and we had a morning of snowboarding, and we were going into the bar to have a few cocktails right around noonish. And she was walking out of the bar, and I just stopped in my tracks. Yeah, it's a good day.
And she's actually from Chicago too, right?
No, she's from New York. She's from Levittown, New York. Yeah. Yes, she was an actress, more of a theater actress, trained at the New York Academy, mostly dancing. We actually did a few movies together at the end of my career. She kind of benefited from my connections a little bit, and she was in a few things with me. She's very good. She could have been an on-screen actress if she really put her mind to it, but it wasn't for us at some point. You know, I was in LA, and we had just gotten married. Maybe we were married for 6 or 8 months because we came back to Chicago, and then my agent called me and said, "We want you to go to LA." I went to LA. We were there for about, I don't know, just under a year. I started working. I was getting some jobs, and I was bartending and busboying and waiting on tables, anything you can do to survive, because that's what you got to do, especially coming from a soap opera, because you have to make it. There's a transition period. Then you have to get out there, and you have to show people that you're not just a talking head on a daytime television show. But I started working. But one day I was walking the dog, and it's important. Wait, I'm going to preface this by saying, there's actors in New York. There are stars in LA. It's totally different. New York is where you go to be an actor. LA is where you go to be a star. It's a bit different. It's a bit different mindset. It's dirty. It's a dirty business. At least it was for me. And being the still strack soldier on the inside, I would not conform to any of that mess. And that got in my way a little bit. And then one day I'm walking the dog out front, and some guy just walks up to me and puts a Glock in my face.
Oh, no.
Just walking my dog. And I had two choices. He was a little far away from me, maybe from me to you. Not necessarily the best place for me to be. I needed to be much closer to do anything about it. I just looked at him straight up and said, "You have the wrong guy. You know, I'm not the guy you're looking for. I'm just walking my dog." And he kind of glassy-eyed put the gun down and walked away. And I walked into our apartment and said, "Honey, pack your bags. That's it. We're out of here." It just put a cap around how dirty the business was. It's a dirty city too.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And so when you walked in the door and you say to your new bride, "We're out of here," what did she say?
Let's go.
You guys are ready to get out.
Yeah, acting wasn't really conducive to a healthy marriage. And I wanted to be married more than I wanted to be an actor. Acting was just a job for me. It was never like, hey, I'm going to be a star. That part never really thrilled me. I loved the time between action and cut, but everything else is a dirty business. I loved being an actor, but just the acting part was fun.
So, your genesis, if you will, from the South Side to the Army to the acting, somewhere along the way, you must have picked up this incredible sense of yourself and this incredible sense of how to talk to people, because I've always known you as someone who really knows who you are, but also really knows how to talk to other people, convey information, connect, all those different types of things. Where did that come about?
I'm not exactly sure. I think that's just God-given, and if you pay attention and you listen, it's really not that hard. If you're listening to what people have to say, you're finding out who they are, what they like, how they're feeling. If you listen, people will tell you. And there's where the connection's built. I don't think it's very difficult.
Well, and you being a real person and in tune with yourself, you can recognize that truth in other people.
We'd like to think that we are, but we have so much to learn every single day. Even at my age now, at 59, I feel like, I'm still learning so much about myself, about what I'm capable of, about what my limitations are and have become over the years. That part's pretty hard to take, But, none of us get out of this alive. And we have to adapt and overcome.
So you get back to Chicago, and was it always going to be Chicago? Did you think about going back to New York? Did you think about anything else?
No, it was going to be Chicago. I think that's where I had the connections, and I had a partner here who is now my current partner, but a guy I had a lot of respect for. His name is David Lockhart, and you know him very well. Wonderful human being. Had a good business, which I actually worked for a little while. My brother worked for a little while. Proud of me going to L.A. And I just said, hey, look, let's add on to your painting company and let's do a handyman service, because it's a handyman company. That's how it started out. And he said, hey, sure, I know how you work. I trust you. And that's how it started.
Was Dave the partner at One Stroke Painting too?
No, that was Mitch Jelenowski, who I'm still very good friends with.
So I know, it started out as Inside Out Painting. Now it's Inside Out Companies, and it's grown to this behemoth in the Chicagoland area, and you're working in multiple states, and you're doing all these things from painting to construction to all this stuff. How does that all come about?
Okay, it came about from the desire from the clients for us to take on other tasks for them. It started with trust. It started as a handyman, Inside Out Painting. I added the handyman portion of it. It was me and my wife working in an Astro van, going out in the morning, doing the work, and then meeting with potential clients between 4 and 6, and then going home and doing the estimates between 6:30 and 8:30 or 9 o'clock, and then going to bed, and then waking up and doing it again. And did that very same thing for the first, I would say, 7 or 8 years. Eventually, along the way, upgrading from an Astro van to a Ford pickup truck, and then maybe 2 pickup trucks. And then it was like I had a client say, "Look, man, you're so good at your response time, and the work that you do is good, and you're reliable. We'd like you to start doing some roofs. What do you think about that?" I'm like, "Well, I know how to do them. I mean, it's really 6 components, not that difficult, not rocket science." So I took some courses. I got my license, which is a very difficult test to take, by the way. They say it's harder than the Illinois bar exam.
Wow.
But if you take a certain course, you learn all the answers before. It's like you go in and take a course and learn all the answers that are going to be on the test. And well, I passed that and started that up right away, and slowly but surely started building that up. And now I think that's pretty much the foundation of our business, is the roofing portion of it. So now it's no longer IOS inside out painting or inside out construction, inside out roofing. There used to be 3 companies, and the inside out construction was DBA'd because we're from handyman. Now it's IOC Construction. That's it. And it encompasses all those things. We just did that 2 years ago to try to, at some point there's got to be an end game to get it ready for sale.
Yeah.
So it's much easier if it's one thing someone's buying.
And how big is it today?
Some years it's nice, and some years it's not so nice. This is going to be a very good year. We're built for 50 to 60 million annually. A good year for us, though, is 35 to 40 million is a really good year. But we're built for bigger. We've kind of structured it that way so we can grow without having the same growing pains it took to get to 20 million or 15 million. So that was painful. I mean, you're doing all this work and you're trying to figure out all the pieces that you need, and you put too many pieces in, and then you start taking pieces away, and you're not making any money along the way. And you think, man, I did so much better when I was just a $3 million, $4 million company. The wages were a little bit better and the work was a little bit less. And then we kind of got that dialed in. Took some time, though. I got to be honest, took some pain. Hopefully we minimized the pain that anyone saw on the client end. It was mostly internal. But the thing is running very well right now. I'm very proud of that.
So, full disclosure, I've worked with your company for several years as well.
Yep.
You guys, I think, do it right. You treat your employees right. You treat your clients right. I don't think I've ever seen you sit in a situation where you're not thinking, how can I make this better for someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your space is kind of unique because you're in construction, but you're really servicing primarily managed properties, right?
Multifamily, yeah. So we don't build one deck, we build 100 deck. We don't put one roof on, we put 50 of them on. So that space tends to be like, there's less opportunities, but there's larger opportunities. There's high competition in that space. You're not just going up against 2 or 3 bidders. Sometimes you're going up against 7 or 8 bidders. Sometimes it's lowest cost wins, which is not my client, because that's not how we're built, and that's not what we're interested in giving people. The lowest cost. Sometimes it's low, but that's not what we're after. And that business is purely, that market or that sector is purely driven by relationships. Yeah.
So Katie and I, in our practice, as we've built it over the years, like it seemed like, to your point, in the early years, there was a lot more coming to us, and then as you start to build, you're trying to build business, you're trying to build infrastructure, and the money doesn't always come in at the same time.
Oh boy, it's terrible,
and
right?
then sometimes the infrastructure is not quite the right infrastructure you need, and you have to backtrack. Sometimes the clients aren't the right clients. You have to backtrack, right? And so it's challenging until, like, I think where you're saying you kind of get to that not that hump, but that space where everything's kind of meshing. You got the right clients, you got the right infrastructure, you can roll with the systems you have in place, and you think you're there now.
I think that we're as there can be. You're always going to think you have a good client. It turns out it's not a good client for you. And you kind of bash your head up against the wall. What did I miss? What did I not see there? It's not a good client for me. So we've fired clients. That's not something that a contractor talks about a lot, firing clients, letting them know that, you're not the client for me, and we're not going to do your work. But good luck, that kind of thing. But you may know that already. So I feel like if you can do 90%, 95% and find your right client, you can find your right price point on things. I think that you're in a good space. You can more rely on what your annual is going to be, based on the opportunities that you have And we can see it in June based on the opportunities that we have, what we're going to do by the end of the year, because our closing ratio is pretty consistent. So, and that goes for the $50,000 job up to the $5 million job. So we understand we're going to win some of those, we're going to lose some of those, but it's about that consistency of, did I pick the right client? Is the client going to pick me? And how confident am I that the client's going to pick me? And then obviously, what can I do to make the client pick me or point them in the right direction?
And I think recognizing the needs, right? There's a need for you to fill. Can you fill that need appropriately? And the relationship that you have. We find that in our business. Absolutely.
I'm sure you do. Yeah. It's for us too, it's about being nimble and quick, and also about listening to what the client's needs are, and then setting the proper expectations for that client and getting everyone on the same page. If you can do that, you can come in on time, on budget. But those things have to fall in place before you pound a nail.
So we're sitting here with Mark Mortimer of IOC Construction. If you like what you're hearing, remember to subscribe and follow us on the podcast. Mark, your company is based in Batavia, right? But you live in St. Charles.
Mm-hmm, correct.
And you've been in Batavia how long? Since the beginning?
Since the very, very beginning, yeah.
And I think Katie was asking these questions. You were giving us more of a revenue idea, but how many people do you employ?
Right now, employees is difficult, right? Because I think on our payroll staff, we have approximately 94 to 105, depends on the time of year. Guys in the field, up to 300. But those are usually subcontractors. Many of those subcontractors used to be employees. It became very difficult in this industry to have employees in the field because of workmen's compensation laws in Illinois, and just things that you must provide. It's much easier to break them off into 10 or 15 man crews where they're not subject to the same rules as we are. As soon as you're over 40 employees, it's pretty tough, right? So we set up quite a few guys in their own businesses, and we're actually really proud of that. And that when someone says to me, we require you to have your employees on the job site, I just say, well, that's impossible. You're not going to find anybody who does, and anyone who tells you they do is lying to you. If you're okay with being lied to, then you're not going to pick me. So let's just get this over with now. So if that's the first question when you want you to have employees, then I tell them who we have working for us, how long they've been working for us, how we've trained them. And because working on property is a completely different animal than working on someone's home. You don't have, the house, 3 or 4 people's eyes on you. You have 300 people's eyes on you all the time. Working on property is a totally different animal. So there's a training program that goes into that. And we're constantly, between December and February, upgrading our training for on-site, upgrading our training for OSHA demands, upgrading our training on new products in the field, coming to the field, new equipment coming to the field. Safety first, always. Product knowledge second.
So when you're looking at a job, how does somebody find you?
Well, you can search us off on the website, but we don't spend a whole lot of time making sure we come up first or second or third. Most of our opportunities, which is, we are so blessed because we get so many opportunities because of the relationships we've built over the last 25 years. People know us from 15 years ago and say, you did this work on a community I used to live in, and I'm on the board in this community, and I recommended you to be brought in for this roofing project or this siding project or this painting project. And that's completely relationship built, completely.
And it's putting good work in and standing by your word.
Always stand by the work. If you can't do that, you might as well go home.
So you mentioned a little while ago that you were super proud about being able to set up your crews as independent businesses. And I imagine you gave them some support along the way to make that happen and so on and so forth. But I mean, you're talking about a business that helps provide for over 300 families. I mean, that must be incredibly rewarding.
Yeah, when you think about it, it makes you puke in your mouth a little bit.
Yeah.
That what the responsibility is. But along the way, at the same time, we've built a team. I'm not even like pounding a nail I mean, most of my work is done from my home on the phone. I've got a CEO, a CFO, an operations manager, 15 superintendents, and a bunch of field supervisors. They do all the work. They make sure that the operations runs. It took some time to get there, quite a bit of time to get there, but I'm blessed in that area. All I have to do is make sure that people remember who I am. That's all I got to do. So I have to make some phone calls. Remember birthdays, children's birthdays, and just try to be the nicest, genuine person I can be to the potential client, old client, new client, whatever it may be. And that part's not hard either, because I would say 85% of the clients I like them. They're just people trying to get a nice job done. Mm-hmm. And I rely on them liking me, so they'll hire me.
So we talked about how you got into the company, the IOC. We talked about how you met your wife, and she worked with you at IOC for a long time.
Long
She's
time.
kind of stepped back a little bit now, right?
Mm-hmm.
How was it like working with your wife?
Oh, that's a challenge. Yeah. But once you get through the first couple of years, you kind of learn each other's space. And you have to trust that they have it handled. You would know.
I know. So, but it's every now and again we get the opportunity to speak with someone who works with their spouse, and it's always nice to kind of bounce those concepts off of each other. What we find is not so much the day-to-day. The day-to-day is fine. I trust her to do her thing. She trusts me to do my thing. It's really that like a minor disagreement or a bad glance or a terse word in one area of life kind of filters into the next area. Do you experience that too?
Okay, we did in the beginning, but we made an agreement like this: the second we walk out of that office door, it's over. It's over. We go home. We're totally different people. We're husband and wife, and we treat each other with respect and honesty, and that's and she agreed to it. I agreed to it, and that's the way it's been. I love my wife. I'm very fortunate, and I know a lot of guys who can't say that. And the longer it goes on, the more I love her, which is wonderful to say.
Yeah. Now, you, in addition to Christy, you also work with Dave, and you work with Dave for now. Gosh, what is that? 30 some years?
Well, I've known him for 40 years now. I've known him for 40 years.
Where did you and Dave meet?
Playing volleyball. Yeah, indoor volleyball. He had just started his painting company, which was Inside Out, and I had my painting company, which was OSP. And we just bounced ideas off each other and stuff like that. We're both little kids. He was fresh out of college. I was out of the military. And so we liked each other immediately. He liked the way I played. I loved the way he played volleyball, and it was a really good fit. I was really blessed in us finding each other. Not only that, he's been a great mentor to me as far as business, because he went to business school. I did not, so he's trained me along the way to see things that I would never have seen before. I respect him quite a bit, and that's not changing anytime soon.
What's the greatest challenge you and Dave faced and Christy faced building IOC?
Oh, man. On a personal level, the greatest challenge I faced was getting out of the work, because you can only go so far when you're doing the work. It was so hard to let go, and I couldn't, because everyone was doing everything wrong. And I was angry all the time. Well, a customer asked you this and you said this. Well, that's the wrong thing to say. So I was angry a lot. And that part took a lot of getting through. My partner looked at me one day, and he looked at Christy and says, "You need to get him out of here." we'd been 5 years straight every single day. And he said, he's going to have a nervous breakdown. You got to get him out of here. So we went on vacation, the first vacation that we took. Didn't even go on a honeymoon up until then. So we called that our honeymoon 5 years later. And came back with a new attitude, like, I'm going to stop this. I quit smoking that day on the plane on the way home. And from there, everything changed for me as far as how I handled things and how I let things get to me. And just put my trust in, I'm going to say it, I put my trust in God, and I put my trust in the people around me. And if things didn't always work out, I accepted it, and we tried to rectify it and move on. Learn. You live, you learn.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I think it's really hard when you have those times where it wasn't the right decision and you have to pivot and you have to change. And where do you think your ability to pivot comes from?
It's got to be my upbringing, It wasn't always great being a Mark Mortimer, Parents got divorced pretty early. It was tough for my mom. It's confusing. Life was confusing. The Army was fun but stressful. It's like any other thing. Either you can pivot or you cannot. And it was completely out of necessity. And once you learn how to do it, it becomes easier and easier and easier. The first times are always the hardest, but after that, I think, even on this current journey I'm on right now, it took a huge pivot to try to get through this.
So let's transition there then, Mark. So you're in a fight with cancer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And talk to us about that. When did that start, and what are you going through?
December 21st of 2004, I was picking my daughter up from school. I noticed a scratch in my throat. I looked in the rearview mirror, opened my mouth, and I saw a huge lump on my tonsil. Could be anything, right? Could be tonsillitis, could be whatever. Go to a ENT. He looked at it and he said, I know exactly what this is. You have cancer. He said, but the good news is this thing is totally curable. Some radiation, some chemo, it'll be gone. In 6 months, you'll be back on with your life. Well, that didn't happen the way he said it was going to happen. It ended up spreading to my lungs, my liver, and my colon. So now I have stage 4 metastatic squamous cell carcinoma. Once it leaves your throat and gets into the other parts of your body, it's one of the hardest cancers to kill. So I am doing a lot of work to try to kill it.
So what are some of the treatments you're doing?
It started out with the radiation and the chemo. Then when I got the diagnosis that it metastasized, I wanted to take a different route. So I went completely the non-traditional route, went to Arizona to work with Invita. And that was more like IV drips and things to strengthen my mitochondria so my body can fight the cancer. I'm missing a few things in my body to help with that, though. So trying to make that swing too right now. But I take Keytruda as well, but it's not very effective on me. But any efficacy is better than no efficacy. And there's things I'm doing, what I eat, I know animal products, control my inflammation through different aspects like hyperbaric chamber, PEMF, pulse electromagnetic field therapy, red light therapy, curcumin drips, resveratrol, metformin, and the list goes on. The hardest part is when I go through something like I just went through a Y90 treatment. It's difficult to eat. It's difficult to keep weight on. And when you're on a diet that contains fish and vegetables, it's really, really hard to put that weight back on. You just cannot eat enough food. So I got to cheat a little bit, put that weight on.
What's Y90?
Y90 is when they radiate these micro beads or glass beads, and they go through your femoral artery into your liver, and they attach it to the bloodstream that feeds the tumor, and they attach it to the tumors. A Y90 treatment, I was hoping to have one Y90 treatment, but the tumors are pretty prevalent in my liver, and they're all 4 lobes, and the doctor, who's a brilliant doctor, Dr. Salem out of Northwestern Chicago, he's like, look, if I do this all over, you're going to die for sure. And I was like, well, let's not do it all over then. What do you think? Because this is the hard road, Mark. And I'm like, well, I didn't think it was going to be easy. It hasn't been easy yet. So let's just start there. So I had a dream last night that it was very effective. So I'm hoping that the Holy Spirit spoke to me last night. So
100%. 100%. So through this journey, you've looked at all these different treatment options, right?
Yeah.
And your wife's working with you, and your family's with you, and all that stuff. You came to this place where you wanted to give opportunities to other people.
Yep.
To get access to some of these different treatments.
It's so expensive.
Talk to us a little bit about that journey and what you're trying to do to make that happen for others.
We started a foundation called the Integrative Access Foundation. Sorry, sometimes I can't remember things because I'm a little bit hooped up still on the radiation. But it's the Integrative Access Foundation, where we've raised quite a bit of money already, over $100,000, to help patients access some integrative therapies. And we've had 6 people so far come through the program. It's in its infancy stages, where we've provided some people with HBOT, 40 rounds of HBOT with red light therapy for their home, and a PEMF mat for their home, so they can get on that mat every day, and they can do the red light therapy every day. And while they're going through treatment, if they're doing the HBOT, they feel better. The whole idea is that these treatments destroy your body. The conventional treatments, it's trying to kill you. And you're hoping that it kills the cancer before it kills you, right? Well, there's ways to get through this that make you feel better with certain IV drips, some nutritional drips, some stuff that actually works on the cancer, like curcumin, resveratrol, vitamin D, vitamin C, which these things cost lots of money. They're not covered under insurance. None of this stuff is covered under insurance. So if you can't afford it, you can't get it. It makes no sense to me. I'm in no position to go fight the government right now and try to get this legislation, but hopefully someone has the energy, someone has the means to do it. I personally don't, but what I can do is raise some money for people to get these just small things, to help them feel better while they're going through this treatment, and to strengthen their mitochondria, strengthen their cells, so that they heal quickly, they recover quickly from these treatments. And for me, it's made all the difference in the world. I mean, if you took me and put me against someone who's gone through what I've gone through, and we were side by side, it would be 2 totally different people. In the color of the eyes, the smile on the face, the way that they feel. Although I don't feel that great today, I just got out of HBOT this morning, so I expect to feel a little bit better this afternoon. And I'm going to go get some vitamin IVs this afternoon. So, but I have that ability because I can afford it. It's hard, and I do really well. And it's hard for me. Imagine if you're just on a fixed income, and I can't even imagine these people not being able to just. So they suffer, and that to me is brutal.
Yeah,
it's unfair. Something had to be done.
So what came about? How did you come up with the idea to start the foundation and springboard this to help people?
Well, I'd love to say that I came up with the idea myself, but I didn't. I was pushed a little bit through some friends who wanted to help me, and I felt uncomfortable helping me. Yeah, it's difficult for me, but it's not the end of the world. So my wife and I discussed it and said, let's do this, but let's help other people. As the founder of a foundation, I can't help myself with the foundation, which is fine, but we can help other people. And once we started the process, it just totally buried my head in it. And I'm so proud of the people who pushed this thing forward, helped me push it forward. And so proud of the people that's helped so far. Just so grateful. And really, I didn't do anything. Just tell my story and try to raise some money.
How can people help the foundation? What can we do?
You can go to integrativeaccess.org. Right there, there's a Zephy link. You can make any donation you want. You can donate $11 a month. That seems to be the thing that works a lot for some of the bigger foundations, but we'll take anything, And we don't spend any money on, every position within the organization is volunteer position. So the only thing we spend money on is putting together the fundraisers. And so all of it goes to help other people, every nickel. And that's the way it's going to be.
Now, to promote the foundation, you actually started your own podcast as well, right?
Yeah.
How's that going?
We just did our first one this past week. It's called Beyond the Diagnosis. And it really talks about, not just cancer, but what do you do? What do you tell your kids? How do you handle work? What are some options for you? Our next episode is going to have Dr. Landon on it, who talks about red light therapy and HBOT and PEMF. And those three things I really strongly believe in because they've helped me so much. So that we want to kind of start there. The first episode was just about me and Christy and how we're kind of managing everything. And after that, we're going to start getting into okay, this affects a lot of other people just besides you. And I'll say one thing is you find out pretty quickly who your friends are because cancer scares people. It scares people. They don't want to see death. They don't want to see you destroyed. So they distance themselves from you, which is hurtful in a sense, but it's understood. I understand it. I get it. Some people come back around, they apologize, and you just move forward. Because I totally get it. No one wants to see their friend die in front of them or deteriorate. You've seen cancer patients. They 1 year they're 210 pounds when they're in the hospital getting hospice or whatever. They're 110 pounds, and they look like a shell of the man that they used to look like. It's hard to watch someone go through that. It is, and I get it. If you can't do it, you can't do it. It's okay.
So I think I have a good idea where this comes from, but where do you get the strength to create the perspective that you have, not just about your cancer journey, but your life? I mean, where does that come from, Mark?
Faith in God. And it's simple.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're fighting this. You've been fighting it for a couple of years. I know we've talked about it a little bit, and it's not stopped you from living your life, though.
No,
not one bit.
No, I still go out and kill fish. I still go out and free dive, and
You have to explain what free diving is, though, Mark.
Well, you're holding your breath and you go deep underwater, right?
For 20 plus minutes.
No, that's the world record. Yeah, that'd be unbelievable. I can get down 6 minutes underwater. I can hunt for 3.5, 4 minutes. I can go down with my gun and hunt for 3.5 to 4 minutes. Sometimes I shoot 1 or 2 fish while I'm down there. And
so I guess we should set the stage for the people. So again, we call the viewers, the listeners, the people, right? So Mark spearfishes in Mexico, and so when he says killing fish, he's not casting a line. He's going down to shoot them. Right?
I'm choosing the fish I want to shoot. I want to eat that day, and I only shoot what I eat that day. It's actually the best way, most sustainable way to catch fish.
So, I mean, I can imagine this. So you're on a boat. I mean, you have goggles on, I presume.
Yeah.
Yeah. but no, air tanks
No
or anything
tank.
of that nature. So you jump off the boat with some fins on your feet, probably. And you're going down there. What are you looking for to shoot?
I'm looking for snapper, grouper, lobster, and I go up under the caves and grab the lobster. Sugarfish, barracuda, which are really good eating. A lot of people don't know that. The occasional lionfish, but they're kind of a pain. Yeah, I'll just anything that tastes good on the plate.
You've been doing this for years, right?
Yeah.
How did you get into it?
I was in Mexico, and this guy Nacho Gutierrez, who taught my daughter to surf, said, "You want to go spearfishing?" I said, "Sure." "What's that?" And he goes, "Well, can you swim?" I'm like, "Yeah, like a fish." He goes, "No, can you swim?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can swim." Well, back then we didn't have a boat, so we swam off ashore up against the waves on the one side of the island where they surf, and I didn't know I was going to be out there for 6 hours swimming. That was pretty tough. And back then I couldn't go very deep, maybe 25 feet. Now I can go 90. But I just kind of got hooked. You're choosing the fish that you want to eat. You bring it back up that day. You bring it back up out of the water. You clean it and you put it on the grill, and it's unbelievable. And there's so much. It tastes better because of the process that you went to go get it.
Mm-hmm.
You're earning it.
You earned every bit of it.
Wearing yourself out at the same time.
Oh man, just that first day, I didn't know if I was going to make it back.
6 hours.
Yeah, we were about 1.5 miles out too. We swam out about 1.5 miles, and then we swam, which I was completely objected to, against the current. Like, why are we swimming against the current? We should have started way over there and swam back this way, and then swam back in. Next time, Mark, next time. I'm like, okay. But, yeah, just kind of got hooked. And everyone I take out there gets hooked. It's unbelievably fun. If you can do the mask, if you can take holding your breath underwater, and I could teach anyone to hold their breath. It's not hard. It's about fighting urges. You don't need to breathe. It's about your mind is telling you need to breathe, but you don't need to breathe. So it's about fighting that urge, and it takes a little bit of time, but I can get someone 3 minutes underwater within a week. Within a week, providing you're in a little bit decent shape. Yeah.
So with your daughter, Hunter, she's going to be a sophomore.
Freshman. She's a freshman.
This is so exciting. What's it like having a girl?
Oh man, I love the girl. So fun to watch. She's starting her first year at Wheaton Academy, and she's just started playing volleyball. So we put her in a camp at the school, and everyone's 2 years ahead of her, everybody. But she's such a good athlete, especially being a surfer and a black belt in karate. She's got unbelievable balance, and it's fun watching her. She fights dyslexia, but she's kind of with the Barton training. I'm not sure if you were aware of what that is, but she's been going through Barton for the last 6 years, and she's kind of graduated through that. So she's ahead of her grade now in reading and everything. So that's all you could ask for. So giving her a good shot, and she made national honors the last 2 years, and she got into this school. So we're going to work really hard to keep her there.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So what are you doing in your downtime now? What are you doing to relax when you're around here? Because I know you do the spearfishing in Mexico, but when you're here, is it just family time? I know you've got, what is it, like a little farmette? Not a little farmette, it's
right now,
quite a farm.
Well, right now we're raising bees, and we're getting ready for the harvest coming up here in the next month. And we have a huge garden, and we try to eat, because I have to eat so clean. Because everything that you put in your body causes inflammation if it's not pure, and inflammation is my nemesis, because cancer will feed on inflammation. So the garden's really important. So I've been doing a lot of that. getting ready for bee season. It's a big property. It takes a lot of work, and don't have as much energy as I had a month ago. So the last month has been pretty tough, but we're getting through it. Everyone's putting the extra hand in to help Dad, and it should be a nice harvest, and we're pretty excited about that. As far as relaxing, this is the first year my daughter didn't go to camp because she wanted to spend the summer with me, and which I thought was beautiful. So we're having a lot of fun there, just hanging out and getting to know each other a little bit more. And yeah, I'm not regretting that decision that she made at all.
Yeah. So someone out there is listening to this podcast and they're kind of sitting in your shoes, and we'll get very specific about this. You've got a family, you've got a business, and you're battling something like this. What's your best advice for them? I mean, perspective-wise.
Well, you need to be your own advocate. That's the very first thing. You need to do your own research, and you need to find a way to sift through all the garbage that's on the internet, all the insecures and all that stuff. You need to do heavy research. You need to spend time with your family. You need love. You need to follow the golden rule. For me, faith comes into play big time. I know it's not for everybody, but it's for me. And I remember, it's going to sound funny. When I first was diagnosed, I couldn't stop this feeling. It's always constant nervous energy. I can actually feel my body vibrate. At night, trying to sleep, my body was vibrating. And that was through all the anxiety that was in me about, what am I going to do? I got to get everything ready for my family. What if things go south? I've got to make sure that everything's in the trust. I've got to, because you think about your family. It's all you think about, making sure that they're going to be okay if you're not going to be okay. I got on my knees and I prayed for peace. Just like that, it came. Just like that. So I'm at peace. I'm so lucky.
Well, and faith makes all the difference, right?
Yes, it does.
All right, so we're going to transition.
Okay.
We're going to go to some lighthearted stuff here.
Okay, good.
So,
let's do it.
We always try to end the podcast with some rapid fire questions about what everyone likes around the Tri-Cities. So Katie and I always talk about, we love this area. We moved in it just like you did. You've been here a little bit longer. And we always view the Tri-Cities as kind of one larger community, right? I think if you move in, that's kind of how you view it. If you've been here for a long time, maybe you view it differently. So some rapid fire questions about some of your favorite spots. All right. I'll shoot. If you got a Saturday afternoon and you're in the Tri-Cities, what are you going to do?
I'm going to get on my bicycle. I'm going to hit the trail.
What's your favorite trail?
Oh, man. I love going up and down the river. I love, because it's right by my house. I can go right through the park and can be on the trail, go all the way down to Oswego and come back. That's about a 35-mile trip round trip. Love that portion of it. I mean, there's just no place like this when it comes to the trail system. Along the river, it's beautiful.
Best kept secret in the Fox Valley?
The fishing.
Really?
Yeah.
Where do you like to fish?
Oh, I fished down below where the dam used to be in Batavia quite a bit. I fished the Geneva area from the hotel down up in St. Charles. I'll fish along the walking bridges, and there you catch nice walleye and smallmouth.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Are you fly fishing or just?
No, just using a shad wrap usually. But yeah, great walleye fishing.
Are you getting in the water or are you fishing?
Oh, you got to be in the water to fish the river. Yeah. Otherwise, you're getting 10% of the river.
And I mean, I think I've seen people standing in the river, but give everyone an idea, like how deep is it when you're in these areas? Like, is it coming up to your waist, your knees?
Mostly it's around thigh height. I mean, you want to be in at least thigh high water to really find some good fish. Then you're fishing the pools and the eddies. Yeah, depends on the time of year, how the river's moving, how you fish it, slow or fast. Yeah, but it's fun. It's great fishing. Yeah, I can't I go out each time. I'll catch between 10 and 30 fish.
Now, are you catching and release here, or are you
Always.
eating them?
No, I'm
Yeah.
releasing.
Where do you buy your fish locally?
At the fishmonger in St. Charles. Can't even remember the name, but it's
ENS.
ENS, yeah?
Yeah.
yeah, ENS.
Yeah, they've got good fish, yeah.
They got great fish.
Yeah. What's your favorite restaurant in the Tri-Cities?
It's gonna sound funny. Loomies.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
why? It's for me and my partner. Ate there every day for years, just talking about how we're going to make the business better. It's got a special place in my heart. And for dinner, I think my daughter likes sushi. Probably swordfish, probably.
We eat at Looms quite a bit. We're a big breakfast family.
Yeah.
I would say, though, from a breakfast standpoint, I like 7th Street Diner.
Ah,
You
I
know?
also like what used to be Mel's down here, which is now State Street Diner. I used to go there a lot.
Yeah, that's the same place. That's what I'm talking about.
State
Well,
Street.
I said 7th Street
You
Diner,
did.
State Street Diner.
Yeah, I like that place too.
Yeah, yeah.
Army, soap opera, construction, father, husband. Which one surprises you the most?
Father. Yeah, I went in kicking and screaming.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Even when saying that kind of tears me up a little bit. My father I love my dad, but he was not a good father. And I was worried that I would not be a good father. Turns out that I'm a pretty good dad. So that one surprises me quite a bit.
I don't think I'm surprised by it.
So thank you.
Mark, I really appreciate you coming on today with us. It's been a pleasure talking with you, as always is. But thank you for sharing your journey and your story with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah. So a couple things. If you like what you heard today, remember to subscribe and follow Beyond the Fox. If you liked what Mark had to say, remember to look up, subscribe, and follow Beyond the Diagnosis.
Beyond the Diagnosis.
Right. And if you want to help his new organization help cancer patients feel a bit better as they're going through treatment, Mark, again, how do they do that?
IntegrativeAccess.org.
Wonderful. All right, Mark. Thanks, big guy.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.